I'm often asked about sugar cravings and sugar addiction. And really, sugar addiction is about a lack of protein in your brain. Now, let me explain that. Most Americans eat way too much protein. So we don't have a protein problem in this country. But when it's related to sugar addiction, what we have is a timing issue. Because protein actually builds the neurotransmitter dopamine, and dopamine controls sugar cravings. It's also the neurotransmitter associated with powering up your brain and experiencing pleasure, fun, creativity. These are all things associated with dopamine. And you build dopamine by eating protein. But again, it's a timing issue. Most Americans have this habit of waking up having orange juice, carbohydrates, bagels, toast, all these things, and they're running out the door. And it just feeds into their stress response, and it just raises their blood sugar level, but it doesn't give them anything to build dopamine. And so the way that you reverse this whole issue, and this is really important, because if you can get a handle on sugar cravings and sugar addiction, you can get a handle on almost any addiction, because it's just about taking control of your life and really your brain. And so the way that you do that is by having a protein breakfast. When you eat protein, especially by itself for a few days, your brain will take the tyrosine from that and make dopamine. And so if you can have protein by itself as your first thing that you eat every day, and I often tell people, think about it for 10 days. Think about it not as a diet to lose weight, but a diet to change your brain. So for 10 days, you're just going to have protein for breakfast. It doesn't matter if you're having a piece of fish, a chicken breast, or you're having a protein drink. Whatever it is, try to have it with little or no carb, no sugar, and just have it by itself. And it doesn't matter if you get hungry an hour later and eat something else. Try to have a little bit of protein but a lot of vegetables in that 10-day period, because again, what you're trying to do is set your brain up with dopamine so that it shuts off sugar cravings. Now, this doesn't mean you can just eat that breakfast and go back to eating whatever you want the rest of the day, or it doesn't mean that you don't need a little bit of willpower along with it. You have to make this 10-day commitment that you're not going to eat simple carbs, you're not going to eat sugar, but believe me, it gets pretty easy after the second or third day, because you're going to notice within that short period of time that your brain is actually changing. You're looking at food differently, you taste things differently, and all of a sudden you realize that you're actually doing something on your own to change your brain and change your health. And then once you get control of sugar cravings, it's real easy for you to control almost any addiction or craving, because most of them are based on just changing the way you feel. What is the main way that most people change the way they feel when they're stressed? They do it by grabbing something and putting it in their mouth. Now, it's usually sugar, drugs, alcohol, or tobacco. Those are 4 things that are really easy to get a hold of, and they change the way you feel immediately, right? Well, if you go through this process of dealing with your sugar cravings, what you're going to find is that you feel better, your brain is powering up, so you have more mental energy, you're probably getting rid of a little bit of brain fog, and all of a sudden, you don't crave to change the way you feel. So without even thinking about it, people will start drinking less. They'll start eating less sugar. They might have it on occasions. They'll have less they just have less of all these 4 things because they just feel better. And that's the key to everything. And the one thing that most people miss when they're trying to break any habit or addiction is the fact that it's probably happening, or it began to happen, because they just didn't like the way they felt. And so if you just strive every day to get healthier and feel better, all of a sudden you don't have to change the way you feel.